Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started. Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the flooring combo I have with Sparrow in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that one, feel free to pause us now, go back and listen to that one, and then come back and join us. And you're going to want to listen to it because there's no way we could cover all the things that she explained. But y'all, if you've heard about your pelvic floor, if you've been told to strengthen your pelvic floor, if you've just been told, oh, you have it's okay that you have a weak pelvic floor because you had all these kids, no. Remember Jessica Vallant's whole thing that just because it's normal doesn't mean it's optimal. So go back and listen to Claire. First of all, she has an amazing accent. So it's really wonderful to listen to. Don't you think?
I think so.
Yeah. So anyways, go listen to that one, but you can listen to this one now because you're here.
she, what is a pelvic floor? I
it's not a floor.
I'm from the yoga world, and we don't talk about pelvic floor over there, but I always I had one teacher years ago talk about the punch bowl of the hips. And he talked about keeping it level so that your punch bowl's not spilling anything ever. And so that's where I came from. So when I learned this phrase, the pelvic floor, I'm just imagining a fucking punch bowl. I never told Claire that, but
she knows it now.
Oh, shoot.
Anyways, I also just love this. She's like, it's not even a floor. Right there is why are we calling it that? Because it does make you think that I don't know. It just makes you think you have to put in a new flooring, and that's not it at all. So it's a diaphragm. Anyways, that's also in the episode. So we are currently clearly sitting next to each other.
If you're watching on YouTube, surprise, we decided to change it up a little bit today.
We had to do this other podcast where we're a couple. And so the best thing to do was just be on the same side because they were on their same side. And then Brad left town, and then he came back and went to record these recaps before we travel. And the mic
still set up this way.
So
but it's kind of cool. It could be good. It's a little weird that I'm not looking at you.
I know.
I know we keep glancing at each other.
It's weird. Anyways,
we'll see.
I don't think we're sticking with it because I have to sit in my chair in a weird way. I'm not loving it. Anyways, we're gonna love it for the moment.
I'm loving it.
So we are currently, if you listen to this in real time, we are somewhere around Delaware at this point in time. We're in Delaware right now?
Yeah, we're in Delaware right now.
Yeah, we're in Delaware. So that means we have hit up Dallas, Houston, Memphis, Nashville, Atlanta, Greensboro, and we are chilling in Delaware, which I think we probably are about to drive into Philly at this point. But it's winter tour time. And if you are what? This tour is happening? How do I get in on it? There are 2 options left. I'm going to be honest. It says you can join us in Cleveland, St. Louis. St. Louis is sold out, but
yeah, St. Louis is probably sold out at this point. Cleveland has a few extra spots.
It's sold out.
If there is
so
enough
fast.
of a demand in St. Louis, we have the potential to add a second class, but you got to tell us that that's something you're interested in.
Yeah.
It's a reformer class. So, just send us a DM.
Yeah. So I love our tours. It's so much fun. Before the tour, I got to go to one of our stops a week before. Yeah. And it's a lot of fun to get out and see y'all. We love where we live. We love to get out and get to where you are. So that's a lot of fun. We will be hanging out in Denver for a little lunch sesh. So if you are one of our peeps out in Denver, make sure you reach out to us on the gram so we can let you know.
Yeah, because we don't know exactly what time we'll be rolling through. So we're going to get not until we get a little closer.
No, it's a road trip. So we're, we can have a detour. We can go shopping. The dogs need a dog park. So we're some of these things you fly by the seat of your pants. And we just want to say, because while there might be another episode, the next episode that you'll hear us is after Christmas. So right now we're going to take this moment to say, we're wishing you a very happy holiday.
Yeah.
We hope you're enjoying your family.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you don't enjoy your family, I hope you're having a great time rocking it with yourself and the family you chose.
Yeah, exactly. Or being by yourself. Because that could be great too.
I did Thanksgiving alone ish. My dad and I went out and had dinner or lunch together. And I have to just say this. It was glorious. I slept in and then I was like, I don't have anything. I can do whatever I want. I can do whatever I want right now. I highly recommend at least a holiday alone. Anyways, okay. We have to talk about Claire, but first we have an audience question to share.
We do. This is really cool. So thank you for actually reaching out here and firing off this question. It was specifically about a previous episode. So if y'all heard
157.
Yeah, so 157 with Kate Wind. The question was, hey, I'm listening to the latest episode today. Are there any Feng Shui books you would recommend? And we thought, since we're not the person to answer this question, we should reach out to Kate. So she actually just got back to us and she said, well, she actually wrote a book.
Yeah.
And she would absolutely recommend her book.
Yeah.
So her book is called Vision Board Feng Shui, and it's an e-workbook. And we have the link for you in the show notes. So yeah. Basically, she said it's great for all levels of people who are interested in Feng Shui. It'll help you understand the concepts and start, working through that in your own life.
Yeah. And so you can, so Kate Wind she's on Instagram and she has her own podcast as well. She and her mom do. It's called Mom and Me and Astrology. And I really do get a kick out of their podcast. It's, I just love her view on these things. And I also have another listener, Bold Moment, was like, I looked up where my door faces and I looked up what that is. And I just love hearing these things from you guys because thank you for listening. First of all, that's amazing. But also the whole goal of bringing these different guests on is to help you make changes. And you don't have to make these big changes. Like even Kate said it, right? But even Claire said, you don't have to go all in. It's an all or nothing. It's like, what can you just look up? Someone else looked up their strength finders. They did their strength finders as well.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. And so we have to have a whole conversation.
Share us your results.
Yeah. So I got a result. We were on a coaching call. She's an agency member.
Oh, great. Okay,
and,
cool.
And then we got to use Kevin Keppels. I don't remember his episode, but it's 150, 149, 150.
It was recent.
And he was talking about the balcony in the basement. So we were able to look at her strengths and we used Kevin's references to talk about where her balcony would be and then where the basement would be on this. So she could just be on the lookout. So anyways,
that's amazing.
You guys are allowed to send us any question you want to the Beit Pod. You can do it on Instagram. You can send it to support. I think we have an email, beitpod at gmail.com.
No, it's not. It's beitpod@bloompods.net.
Oh, well, I've been telling everyone beitpod at gmail.com because
we don't have the Gmail. So that definitely is not it. Oh. So there's that.
Well, yeah. So if you
beitpod@bloompods.net.
Okay. Well, if you sent one there, send it to this new one.
Okay, let's talk about Claire Sparrow, all the way from Leeds in the UK. Claire Sparrow is a Pilates teacher of over 2 decades who specializes in working with women experiencing chronic pelvic floor dysfunction. After going through a traumatic birth experience herself, she didn't want to have surgery. So she healed herself through movement and breath work instead. And now she actually brings hope to other women who are going through the same issues where there seems to be no answer. And she supports these women in person. She actually has her studio, a Pilates studio in Leeds. And also she has an amazing online program that will help you restore yourself back to normal so that you can lead the life that you want to be leading. Yeah.
Well, I love her. And it was so fun because we had to do that. That was an in-house podcast.
Yeah, that was
she was fun. Here at the house. She was staying with us. It was a crazy week. We had her and John Steele, and
we did. It was actually amazing. It was such a fun week.
It just felt like, where are the cameras now? Because this is a reality television at this point. Like an 87-year-old man is tapping on the window to come in and use the house, and if that man happens to be the author of a book, and was Joseph Pilates' adopted son.
Yeah, amazing. So I'm going to hop in here first and talk about the elephant in the room. Okay. What the heck is a pelvic floor anyway? And is a prolapse as terrifying as it sounds?
So we had 2 elephants.
2 elephants.
Okay.
Well, because they mentioned prolapse, she mentioned prolapse and pelvic floor. So first off, the pelvic floor, I'm just going to literally read. I listened to this section of the pod 3 times. I'm going to read what my notes on this because I want to make sure I get it right. So the pelvic floor is a set of dynamic muscles, 3 main muscles that are interwoven like a French braid. They attach to the back and front of your pelvis and each of your sitting bones on your butt, on your bottom. So they are meant to expand and lengthen 3 times the resting length. So meaning if the resting length is 1 foot, they are meant to expand to 3 feet, to up to 3 feet when you're doing normal movement. So imagine when you're doing a squat, if it's connected to your pelvis, you know, your butt, and you're squatting, you're obviously lengthening that, right? So that's the idea there. And then Claire used the example of like an elastic band, right? We've all used the TheraBand. She said it's not a floor. There's no floor at it at all. Like, it's a weird term to call it a floor. She said it's more of like a diaphragm where it expands and it shrinks. And also she said it's a super highway of nerves wrapped with those loads of muscles that she was just talking about. So the nerves that go through there are the biggest nerves in your entire body that will run straight through there as well, which is part of the reason where this can be so complicated for women after childbirth, because you know your body is going through something that's pretty extreme and moving things around, and that could pinch things or not pinch things or whatever, and then it messes with your muscles, which are meant to hold all those nerves tightly and safely. And if your muscles get messed up, it can actually affect those nerves. So nerves. So the nerds, those damn nerds.
Your pelvic nerds.
Yeah, those pelvic nerds. Sounds like a fucking shirt to me.
I think there's those things and kids' toys where like they go like, oh, like, can't, if you're listening to this, you can't see what I'm doing, but you know, like there's those weird toys that like they come together like a little atom and then they expand apart and they come together, and like thank goodness they do. But why? Like, I know the human body makes a lot of sense and these are muscles, so it's not an organ, but like it feels like it's an organ because it's like so important, and it's a delicate balance. Like, I mean, the whole body is a delicate balance, which is why I love Pilates, because nothing gets overworked or underworked. And that's where your pelvic floor can have the most problems, because something can be overworked and other things can be underworked, and then you're out of balance, and that's where you get some issues. There's one more elephant you wanted to address.
Yeah. So what is a prolapse, right? I mean, it's just the word itself is I mean, it's a little scary sounding. And when we the common misconception is that something has fallen out of you or dropped, and you know, whatever. There's it's just a very weird visual. And Claire is kind of on a mission to change the way we talk about that. And she said it's actually just moved or displaced, meaning like, so your if your muscles are not they're not strong enough to hold those nerves and protect those nerves, those same muscles are also holding your organs into place, right? So if your muscles are weak, then they can't do that. They can't operate in that fashion. And that means that your organs have the potential to slide around to somewhere where they're not supposed to be because the muscles aren't strong enough to hold them in place. That is a prolapse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So she actually specifically used the uterus as an organ that has the potential to move. You know, if you have you know, if you're dealing with pelvic floor stuff, and that's actually what happened to her. And so she talked about that. And then, so anyway, I think that it's really important to just like get rid of this like terrifying concept of what a prolapse is. Yes, it's definitely, you
don't want it to happen.
You don't want it to happen. I'm not saying it's not a big deal, but it's also not like, you're not like, you know, your organ is not dropping out of your body. Yeah, that's not what's happening here. So
yeah, it's not to never be back in place again. Like there are options. So, which I think is like nice and hopeful. Okay. I'm going to jump in.
So yeah. So, I mean, having covered those, I thought about that as like the elephant in the room, because I think it's important to dispel any preconceived notions, such as the punch bowl analogy I put at the beginning, you know, or whatever the hell else it is that has gone through, you know, any of our heads here, because when we can all talk about the same thing, then we can have a better, more educated conversation about it.
Well, I think it's so that you can, if you are going through something and like you feel something is out of place. And I've had friends who've definitely felt down there and something's not been right. Having a better understanding scientifically around what you're going through is going to allow you to have a conversation with your doctor, your provider, in a way that makes you feel seen and that you understand what's going on. And this is something that's very important. If you just go, if it doesn't feel right, the doctor doesn't know how to handle that. But if you can actually like, if you, through listening to these experts that we bring in, if it allows you to advocate for yourself, and we have an advocate coming. That's coming out next year?
A couple more episodes. We have a health advocate on as a guest.
Yeah. So she talks about like having this information so that when you talk to your provider, you can actually have specifics to talk to them about. It's going to allow you to have a stronger conversation with them and get the help that you need. So you don't have to be afraid of these things, and you can actually understand what they're saying. They can understand what you're saying. You can get the help faster. Okay. My thing. Of course, I loved that she talked about how, answer the question, will Pilates help strengthen your pelvic floor? And this is where we like chatted a little bit about, now all teachers are the same. Like, for example, don't come to me for your pelvic floor, clearly. But also like yes, the Pilates that I teach could help that. But if you are in an acute situation where you do need to balance your pelvic floor out, then I want you to seek out a teacher who's actually been trained in this way. You can actually reach out to Claire because she has teachers that she's trained. She also has a course for this, where she has classes to help you out with that. And I love that she also talked about like, it's less about telling the pelvic floor what to do and more about stimulating it. And that's where she got into the thing about the Kegels. Oh my gosh, I had so many clients went, I'm doing my Kegels at the stoplight. And I'm like, okay, there's some other things down there we got to do. We don't want to just like overdo it with those things. And that obviously can cause the issues that Brad talked about in his talking points from her. But she mentioned that we can do more about stimulating the pelvic floor properly, so we can teach it how to move on its own without us thinking about it. And that's where Pilates really can come into place, especially if you have a teacher who knows how to incorporate Pilates and the pelvic floor. And here's why. I don't think about my posture. I do enough Pilates that my body thinks about my posture for me. Your body is actually, when it's in balance, when you actually balance all the muscles, your body knows how to walk, sit, sneeze, breathe, all the things without you going, did I think about that? Did I think about inhaling that way? You know what I mean? So like if you are, for example, trying to work on breathing through your nose more, in the beginning, if you think about it a while, but hopefully over time, the goal is that your body will do it on its own. So I really loved that she talked about stimulating the pelvic floor properly so we can teach it how to move. And it's just a little bit of retraining, right? Because who knows how long you've been doing it the other way. So anyways, I love, I felt like I did a 3-hour course in like 45 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I think she talked about the difference between Kegels and like how the concept that Dr. Kegel came up with Kegel exercises and using Kegel devices, how Pilates can help stimulate similarly. So I think that's pretty amazing that Pilates can do that.
Yeah, I know. I think it's so impressive. So yes, if you're coming to Pilates for your pelvic floor, absolutely do that, but definitely make sure that the teacher you're with has done some training in it. Because we all like, Pilates can also help with Parkinson's. Pilates can also help with a lot of knee surgeries. But when you start to get nuanced like that, you're going to want to find someone who's gone down a path to get more training in that.
All right, let's talk about those. Be it action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your conversation with Claire Sparrow? I'm gonna throw out the first one here, and really, truly, it's talk about it. Open up conversations about pelvic floor. I know that it can be embarrassing. I don't personally know that, but I know that people are embarrassed about what happens, what's happening with their body, and it can become an awkward conversation, but it shouldn't be. It doesn't have to be. And
also, we talked about, it hasn't come up in this episode, but we did, so that's why you have to listen to Claire's actual interview. We talked about, do men have one, and can they have issues?
Yes.
And she actually said yes, and these are the signs of it. And, I'm not going to name names, but you had some men in your life who went through a certain situation down there, and because like a cancer situation. And because of that, you were like, how am I doing? Let me go get that checked out. And so it's like, the more we talk about anything going on with our health, the more likely we can actually save more people from going down the wrong path for a long time.
Yeah, I think that pelvic floor issues are becoming even more common because people are sitting more and more with their desk jobs. And then also Claire specifically called out truck drivers because they're sitting for, 8, 10, 12 hours at a shot while they're moving the trucks around. And
well, our yoga teacher said it, like chairs and shoes were the worst inventions. But like, just I think it's also more common because people are also talking about it. Like I think
right, like it's actually just awareness.
Just awareness.
Yep.
So keep the awareness going. Make sure you talk about it to the men and women and everyone.
Yeah, and I'm just gonna jump around here because this wasn't on our timeline, but there was something very specific that I wanted to mention. If you've been told you just have a weak pelvic floor, or you've had 3 children, this is normal. Oh, this is because of your age, and there's nothing that can be done. That's not the case.
Yeah, I think we've said it in many episodes, but seriously, just because a lot of people went through that doesn't mean you have to live with that. Just because it's normal doesn't mean it's optimal. Like that is, thank you, Jessica, for that phrase right there. My beit action item is, could we just let it go? So like she talked about like the fear, you got to let that go because that's not helping you. In fact, that might even be causing more problems because when we're in fear, we start to tense muscles and things like that. That can create more of a bounce.
It can mess with your sleep, your stress, your digestion.
Yeah, which is not going to help any of these
of the things.
Yeah. So let the fear go, do what we you'll hear in Lindsay's episode in a few weeks about like what you can do to make sure you are prepared to advocate for yourself in this situation.
Yeah.
And that's going to take some of that fear away, and it's going to let you get the help that you need. She also meant to let we're oftentimes pulling things in all the time. So we've talked about this before. I don't know if it was which episode, but like you shouldn't even be pulling your abs in all the time. Like a Pilates instructor is off to do this because they're keeping their abs in. They're teaching people to put their abs in. Your abdominals should be able to go in and out, just like your diaphragm goes in and out, just like your pelvic floor should not be in a tense mode all the time. It's only going to create more problems. Just so you know about the ab thing, you will become constipated. It's called hypertension. Just so hyper.
I don't know what it's called, but if
something.
you keep, basically when you're tensing all those muscles all the time, you're not allowing the bones to move, the muscles to move or anything. And that's supposed to be happening down there. Claire specifically said your pubic bone has to move, and you can't, you're not allowing it moves when you breathe. And if you're tensed when you're breathing, you're not actually allowing anything to move at all.
Yeah.
And that's actually not benefiting you.
Yeah. So obviously when you're doing Pilates, you have a special way of breathing. So do that. But then in life, she mentioned like getting that breath all the way down to the pubic bone. And I was like trying to do that. I was like, and I was like visualizing. I'm like, I think it's like just above it. I'm not getting all the way there. So, so I got to work on that. But all days it was just so, I'm so glad to finally have her on the pod. She's not only is she so passionate about that, but she's truly changing people's lives with this. And the more teachers she's able to teach this to, and the more people she's able to teach this to, and her course is so thorough, it's so beneficial, the better we are.
I mean, I was just floored by her interview. So
yeah, just by her interview, you're floored.
I was floored.
Oh, I got it.
You got it. Okay.
I got it. Listen, if you take away nothing else from this interview, know this: there's hope to get back to a normal life, and pelvic floor issues don't have to stop you from living and doing the things you want to do. We talked about this in our interview. Not just pelvic floor issues, but I really do see that a lot of people's health issues keep them from moving their life forward.
Yeah.
And
sure.
It doesn't have to be that way, but especially this, like we talked, like so many people are not doing things with their children or not saying yes to things because of what's going on down there. And it's like, there's hope for you. So,
and menopause does affect this region. So if you are going into menopause and you have not addressed pelvic floor issues you may have, that can actually make things worse. So it's important to be aware of this kind of stuff sooner than later, but there's still, you can still do things about it. In fact, Claire talked about one of her students that had pelvic floor issues, unaddressed pelvic floor issues for more than 3 decades, and is now addressing them and is now living a far more normal and enjoyable life than she has been for decades. So, that's exciting to hear. I think that's amazing. I think it's incredible. I just wanted to say, so basically, Claire has this awesome course, right? In our show notes, we've got a link down there specifically for you to go click through and see, her course and what it could offer. She's got 2 versions of it. One is for teachers, like Pilates teachers or fitness teachers, who obviously will probably have understanding of anatomy and stuff like that. She has another version of the course for people who are not teachers. So if you're like, I don't really understand the biology so much, maybe there's the version that's not for the teachers is going to be perfect for you. So click that link specifically because it'll let her know that we sent you. Honestly, if you have an incredible experience with Claire, let us know, because we love her. We already know she's amazing. We are incredibly confident that you will love her too. And, hopefully she can help you through this delicate time. So,
all right. I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you going to use these in your life? We want to know. And we have to just say, again, we're so grateful for you, for each one of you, for those of you who tell us how each episode affected you in your life, and also for sharing it with your friends and family. It is truly meaningful to us, and it's actually what helps us get this podcast out to get to more people. So thank you for doing that. And until next time, be it till you see it.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day. Be It Till You See It is a production of As the Crows Fly Media.
It's written, produced, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell. Our associate producer is Amanda Fraterelli.
Kevin Perez at Disenyo handles all of our audio editing.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to our designer Jaira Mandal for creating all of our visuals, which you can't see because this is a podcast, and our digital producer Jay Perdoso for editing all the video each week so you can.
And to Angelina Herrico for transcribing each of our episodes so you can find them on our website. And finally, to Meredith Crowell for keeping us all on point and on time.